My name is Jamin Goecker. I'm a realtor serving South Central Alaska, and my mission is to help you to build an intentional and significant legacy for yourself and your family by coaching you in real estate. And the purpose of today's video is to really kind of broach a topic that I run into very frequently with sellers, and that is, hey, how many updates and remodels should I do for my home to maximize what I can get for it before it starts turning into a diminishing return? Because obviously we all know, hey, you can't put $100,000 into a house and think you're going to increase its value by $100,000. That's just not realistic. Okay, I actually worked with some folks for a couple of years ago, and worked with them for a couple months, and got their property sold and everything, but they put $140,000 into updating their home. Absolutely beautiful, just pristine everything, and it only increased their market value by maybe $40,000 or $50,000. So really got hosed on that one, but absolutely beautiful property. First thing I would say is that when you're updating and remodeling your home, keep in mind you gotta do it for one of two reasons. Number one, you just like living in a nice place, and this is something where you really do like the home that you're living in. You want to beautify it. Great. Okay, completely different thought process and justifications there. The second one, though, says, hey, we are trying to sell this property and maximize what we can get for it. In which case, hey, we've got to be really strategic on what updates and remodels that we're going to do, because there's obviously a big diminishing return. So let's jump into that in just a second. But before we do, though, give this video a like. If you haven't done so already, do subscribe. And without further ado, let's go and jump into this video talking about what it is that you can do as far as updates and remodels to maximize what you can get for it. The first thing that I would say you need to do is you're doing some really basic updates and remodels is to just go through and swap out the light fixtures around the house. Have something that's a little bit more modern and has kind of a bright, warm light to it, okay? That's gonna go a long way. So that's number one. Make sure you've got new light fixtures throughout. Number two, make sure you've got new knobs on everything. And I'm talking about the kitchen, bathroom, doorknobs, stuff like that. Make sure it looks new and shiny and looks like something that just came out of the store, which it did. So that's number two. Just make sure you go through and replace those knobs, and just make sure it matches whatever's already there. If you have like a cabinet that obviously doesn't really match the color scheme of the new knobs you put on there, not really winning. So, I mean, best thing I can say, have someone that's a little bit more color themed inclined that can help you figure out what's going to actually match. If you've got a wife, this is really her moment to shine, usually. Next tip I would say is, if you have a tile bathroom, here's a good way to really update it without completely breaking the bank and pulling down all the tile and putting up all new tile. And that is, take a strip of tile all the way around, remove that strip and put new tile in there that's of a different color. So this is really gonna make it pop, and this is really gonna make the whole thing look newer, just because you took that one strip out and put something else in there. So yeah, really make sure that you kind of know what you're doing as far as the grout work and all that. I don't want anyone getting water trapped back there for some crazy reason. I'm assuming we all should know kind of the basic homeowner stuff about like that. But yeah, that's a great way to do it without completely breaking the bank and having to pull the whole thing down and turning it into a full week-long project. Number four, focus on your landscaping. And this can be really basic stuff, okay? So if it's during the summertime, everything's mowed, everything's trimmed, everything's pruned. If you have a flower bed, it's weeded. You've put down some fresh mulch so it smells really good. You've got some flowers out there as well. You've got bushes, everything's trimmed the way that it should be. You've got no tons of grass laying around the driveway. Everything's trimmed the way it needs to be. Landscaping is really important during the summertime if you're trying to make great curb appeal as people are driving up. And that's a great way to do it. It doesn't, you don't have to go put down a full new yard or spend $10,000 or something like that. Just make sure what you have is well taken care of and presents really well from the curb. Next thing I would say, and this this might be a little bit more time consuming than what you have time for. But if you have time, definitely consider painting the cabinets if they're a little bit more on the dated side. Now I say if you have time because cabinets can take a while to paint. And this is something that you learn pretty quickly if you ever talk with painters. A lot of them will not even touch cabinets because they are so time consuming, because you're gonna have to sand it off, and there's a lot of fine details on there. So you're gonna have to sand it off and then you go ahead and go paint it, okay? So it can be very time consuming. Just kind of know where the give and take and the diminishing return is gonna be for you as far as your time goes. Let's take a quick break here. For those of you who've been watching for a while, you do know that I have a seller guide for people who are considering getting their property on the market. If this is something that would benefit you, do make sure you reach out to me through either my website, Facebook, Instagram, whatever is going to be more accessible to you, and I'd be happy to send that over to you. And it just answers the basic questions most sellers have concerning things like, the cost for selling your home, what does the staging look like, what factors impact your home's value, pretty basic stuff like that. But it does give you a great place to get started, and it's very educational. So feel free to reach out to me, be happy to send that over to you, and obviously it's free, so no reason why not. Now let's go and finish today's video. Okay, now that you've done all of that, it's time to move on to appliances. So if you have older appliances, this is what you can do. If you don't really have the budget to just go get new fridge, new this and that and this and that, what you can do is just go get some kind of a new door or something like that and put it on there so it has a nice shine to it and a nice presentation. So that's one option. Obviously, just getting some solution or some cleaner that really polishes stuff like stainless steel is going to go a long way as well. But either way, just make sure that the appliances really do stand out, because for some people that really is eye candy, and you want to make sure the house gets its best day in court. This next one kind of goes back to landscaping a little bit, but if it's during the winter time, make sure that you have all the light bulbs outside replaced and shining and bright and looking warm and looking great from the curb. If you don't have any lights on the exterior, get some lights on the exterior, and it's really going to help overall for the property. Having some kind of lights out there just lining the walk up to the house is definitely a nice little touch, and it's going to definitely help you with curb appeal. It's not going to be that expensive either. Now, as they're walking up to the door, what do they see but a brand new door? Okay, so this is another thing you can do that's really just going to set the house apart a little bit. If you have some kind of a new door or freshly painted with really sharp, clean colors that's not all scuffed up, that's going to make a great impression as well. And finally, the two things that you can do that's really going to improve the value for the house is going to be to put some fresh paint on in the interior, and if you have carpet, make sure you've got new carpet put down as well. So this is going to be situational for each house. Obviously, I'm not seeing yours, so I don't know exactly what its condition is, but usually putting in a new carpet is very justifiable, because a lot of buyers, when they come in, they look at a property, they usually can't see past carpet that's kind of old and ratty and needing to be replaced. And if you have the budget for it now, you might as well, instead of having some kind of concession for them later, because hey, it's better to just put that money forward and have that taken care of than it is to just have a certain amount in escrow set aside for it. And the reason for that is it's going to be done either way, but this way you get the marketing benefit from it that we can talk about and really sell as a selling proposition. And the buyers don't like the carpet, they will replace it on their own anyway. So these are my tips for the things that you can do to really kind of update and kind of upgrade the property a little bit without completely breaking the bank, and kind of drive up the value for the property and make buyers really, really want your property. So I sure hope it was useful. If it was, do make sure you give me one of these. And if you have any further questions, do reach out to me through my website or reach out to me on Facebook or slide into my DMs on Instagram. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.